for sparing your valuable time and talking to us. And congratulations and for such a delightful series. So soaring high with Rocket Boys.
Yes, I think we've hit all the right notes. I think we made a show that has resonated with people. It has made an impact. It's created an impact on people. We've told a story that I don't think was told before. So all of us are very happy. All of us are very, very happy that the show has been received well. So we're very happy. Yes, of course.
Before we move on to your phenomenal series, let me ask you about your Punjab connect, Pannu. It has rung a huge bell in our part of the country.
I am from Punjab, but I haven't been living in Punjab for the last 10, 15 years. There's a village near Amritsar called Nashera. My ancestors are from there. But all of us then shifted out. I have been living in Delhi, Jaipur, Pune, Bombay for the last 15 odd years. But my family, my dadi still lives in that village. So every year I make it a point to go there. So yeah, Punjab is very much rooted in me, and I'd like to tell a story on Punjab someday, for sure.
Oh, were you born somewhere in Punjab?
No, I wasn't born in Punjab. I was born. My father was transferred, so he was in Jaipur when I was born in Jaipur.
Okay, but you keep visiting Punjab otherwise.
Yes, of course. In fact, I was there. I was there in Amritsar a couple of weeks back.
So going back to your series, Rocket Boys, it's your debut, and with the very debut project, you hit the bullseye, and it is almost the first series on scientists, science is entertainment. Do you think it's Providence, your first and first in the OTT world?
Yeah, I think as I said, I as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, couldn't have asked for a better story to tell. I feel that this was long overdue. Telling a story on true nation builders. It hadn't been done before, and in fact should be done more often. There are so many nation builders out there who actually contributed in building the nation, and the fact that we are talking, you are in Chandigarh, I believe, I am in Mumbai. We're talking via Zoom through satellites that were initially set up by Dr. Vikram, Sarabhai. So a lot of our life, a lot of what we have, what the tangible things that we have in life are, so a lot of credit should go to these people. And sadly, we don't tell these people's stories. And as a first-time filmmaker, you couldn't have asked for more to tell a story about these men and their remarkable contribution. So yeah, I guess call it sheer luck, I would say.
And you're talking of these two scientists, but almost every scientist in this series deserves a series in itself. You agree?
Absolutely. I think the real ones and the fictional ones as well. I think all the scientists that are depicted in the show, I mean, if I were to devote my life to telling the stories of these people, I would be very happy. But yeah, but as you're absolutely right. Even with, I mean, you're talking about other scientists. I'm talking about just the main protagonists of the show. I keep telling it to people that even with the show that is based on Homi, Bhabha, Vikram Sarabhai, and Abdul Kalam, we have just touched the surface because their contribution is so much. I think we've been able to tell about 10% of what their contribution was or what they've actually done. Because it's impossible to put it all in 8 episodes or 16 episodes, since there's a second season coming. Right. To put it all in 2 seasons, it's impossible. So we had to pick and choose, and I was very sad. Oh, I wish I could have told this as well. Hopefully, if people like you keep liking the show, we'll probably make individual shows.
Spin-offs, we can see many spin-offs in the making. So was that the biggest challenge? What to retain?
The biggest challenge in terms of narrating the story, or in terms of keeping the relevant information?
Both ways.
Okay. So in terms of keeping relevant information, it was it was sort of easy because, we had then we had to move on to another event, that is 1945, then go on to 1947, that was independence. Then we had to go to the general election 1952 and the launch of the Apsara Reactor 1956. So the show, 8 episodes, talks about 23 years of these people's lives, the first season. So and we had 8 episodes. So we had to let go of some events that probably happened in 1954 because the show wasn't set in 1954. So picking those events was easier, I guess. But that I don't think was the biggest challenge, Monica. The biggest challenge in the show was to make these characters relatable and to humanize these characters. Their contribution is so well documented. You do a simple Google search and you will end up finding, okay, Apsara reactor was built in 1956. The first rocket was launched in 1963, 21st November. This is what happened. There's a brilliant Spotify podcast by Harsha Hogle that also talks about the first rocket launch as well. So there's enough information out there for people to find and dig their heels in. But the most challenging part was to humanize these characters, to make these characters relatable, to present these characters as you and I, so that people watching the show, people in 2022 watching the show, hopefully see them as normal people, just normal people who aspired to do bigger things, who dreamt of bigger things for the country, for themselves, or for everyone, for people around them who wanted to build a better world. So that was the biggest challenge, to make these characters relatable and human, and we didn't want to show cardboard cutouts of these legends, which they eventually turned out to be. And rightfully so, their contributions were immense and incredible. But how do we make people relate with them was challenging.
And striking the balance. I mean, the series strikes such a wonderful balance. You don't dumb down on people who don't know science, and yet it is very well accessible, understandable, and then again it's patriotic. It uplifts your spirits, but it's not jingoistic at all. Were these things always in your mind while doing this show?
Absolutely. See, you've rightly said that the science, of course, we are talking about scientists, probably arguably the best scientists that our country's ever seen. So I couldn't have made them talk about science the way, I don't know, most of the films in India or abroad are shown, where you dumb it down so much that it becomes laughable. And yet we had to make sure that we aren't alienating the audiences. And I like to say that a lot because I always take this opportunity to tell the world that I'm an engineer, because my family will be very proud.
Yeah.
That I at least have got some recognition as an engineer. So I'm an engineer and I was a pathetic engineer. So I've tried to strike a balance where I write the scenes in a way that I understand. A bad engineer understands. A bad science student understands the science. So that the people who know science will also know what's going on, and they won't think, oh, why are they dumbing it down so much? Why are they babyifying the science so much? And people who aren't from the science background, they'll also feel, okay, okay. But one of the best things, that while we were shooting and while we were workshopping, is that I don't need to explain science really. I don't need to explain what is it that is going on in the cloud chamber, as long as the person who's talking about it, Homi Bhabha, he knows what's going on in the cloud chamber, and he's telling the world that this is what will happen if we are able to harness the energy of cosmic rays. That's all. So as I said, then again the whole thing of making it relatable comes into picture. Make it relatable so that people know that, okay, this person knows what he's talking about, and how is this going to affect us? Then they don't need to understand that cosmic rays were formed because there's some supernova event and that is being captured because of some dry ice under a cloud chamber. They don't need to understand that. They need to understand the implications of cosmic rays. And that is something that I think that is where, good inputs from everyone involved, and writing helped us, where we ensured that let us try to tell people that why is this important, why is what we are showing is important, not rather than explaining what is actually happening. So I think I think it worked in our favor.
I think one of the things that the series does is it whets your appetite to know more and more. I think for me, I mean, I know since I'm come from an arts background, I know more about Malika Sarabhai and Mrinalini Sarabhai than Vikram Sarabhai himself. And it really whetted my appetite, and I went back to to Google search and read about them. So was that also? I mean, do you think that's also a big achievement of the series, that it makes them go back? What you have not shown, they can very few series actually whet your appetite.
Oh, thank you first of all for saying that. And yeah, I mean, I think if we've done that, I think it's a victory for us. We've managed to make people curious about these people, and they've actually done the hard work of finishing the show and finding out more about these gentlemen. I think then our mission, our aim with the show has been successful. That we managed to reacquaint the world, the Gen Zs and the millennials, with these remarkable people. And yeah, at the back of our head, we always wanted that to happen. We were all very conscious of that I hope this show starts a conversation. I hope the show reacquaints, that's the right word, reacquaints the audiences with these people. So yeah, I'm very, very happy that, and thank you so much for saying that. So I'm really happy.
But tell me, their life is so dramatic in itself. Both their lives. There is an extramarital affair happening. There is a conspiracy theory in case of Homi Bhabha. So where was it necessary to invent fictional characters like Raza Mehdi or Pipsi?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, Pipsi isn't a fictional character.
Right.
The name has been changed, but there was a woman in Dr. Bhabha's life called Feroza Wadia, who held a very special place in Homi Bhabha's heart, and even till the last days of his life. I mean, it's said that whenever he used to go for a performance at NCPA or any other theatre, there was always one seat reserved for Feroza Wadia, if Homi Bhabha.
Okay.
So she got married. But they had a different relationship entirely. So Pipsi isn't necessarily a fictional character. And now coming to Raza Mehdi, the most talked about character in the show.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll come to Raza Mehdi in the end. Let's talk about Prosenjit Day. It is a fictional character that people think is a fictional character, but in all my research, when we were, for 1 year, when we were doing our research, we did come across the fact that there were a few publications in India operating in Bombay who were bankrolled by the CIA, and who were actually acting as handlers and passing off information to the CIA. And especially we're talking about a time when the Cold War was at its peak. It was the era of the spies. Every 1 in 10 people was a spy, was spying for something or the other. I came across a person who was working at the PMO in Indira Gandhi's government, who was a spy for the KGB. So there was, without naming anyone, of course, there are people. Yeah. We were living at times which we aren't really aware of now. I mean, we only try to scratch the surface of it. So even Prosenjit Day, for that matter, isn't.
You mean Namit Das character, right?
Namit Das isn't completely fictional. It's derived from few characters or few people that we came across when we were doing our research. Now, the most important, again, coming back to Raza Mehdi. Raza Mehdi, I felt was necessary because it was the most important foil to Dr. Bhabha's character, for Bhabha's life. We are talking about 2 brilliant scientists, the most privileged men that India has ever seen. Affluent, influential, had the world at the disposal, used to call Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as भाई बोलते थे पंडित नेहरू.
Yeah.
So, as a story, you always root for the underdogs. As a story, you want to tell the story of an underdog. Okay, now he is not winning, but at the end of the film, he'll win. So we'll celebrate with him. But how do you make people feel for characters who already have everything with them? Who can just call up the prime minister and tell him that, bhai, mujhe bomb banana hai. So bhai will say, okay, go ahead and make it. So you need to create a foil to that to the protagonist, which Raza Mehdi is. And also, I don't like to, I mean, again, I probably might get into trouble with this, but one of the major reasons why I wanted to make Raza Mehdi a character was that I wanted to call out two things. I wanted to call out class divide and I wanted to call out Islamophobia. Now you see a person who's been pushed around, who hasn't gotten his due, who we feel belongs from a certain cultural community or from a religious background. He is now, since he's not gotten his due, he's going to end up being a traitor because he belongs to a certain community or a background. And I wanted to call that out because it is inherent stigma in our heads. So I wanted to call that out primarily. And in the end, it's shown that he's a true patriot.
Yeah.
He's a patriot than anybody else.
Yes.
So yeah, there were 2-3 things that were on my mind why Dr. Raza Mehdi's character had to be built in. To create, of course, to add dramatic punch up and to be a foil in Dr. Bhabha's life. And the 2 things that I just said.
See, you're talking of Islamophobia, which is increasing today. But in the political climate that we are living in today, do you think it was a big challenge or a risk to extol the Nehruvian era?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was a risk. We were all conscious of it. And at the end of the day, we weren't showing anybody as perfect people. We are talking about Homi Bhabha, who's not perfect. We're talking about Vikram Sarabhai, who ends up cheating on his wife. They're people who are making mistakes, who are Pandit Nehru. I mean, if he started Apsara, if he backed science and scientific development in the country, he was also somebody who really messed up with the Indo-China thing and the relations. So, and we've tried to show it all. It's not that we are trying to take any sides. We're trying to show that this is what happened. Guys, this is what happened. Nehru did sanction a lot of good things. He was also a part of some bad decisions that were made and which have defined our relations with China today, even today. So, and I don't think that we've taken any sides by saying that, no, Nehru was great or Indira was great or Nehru was bad or Indira was bad. We're trying to tell the world that this is what happened, and no matter how much rewriting of the history may take place, this is what actually happened. So, I guess, yeah, there was a bit of, we were a little anxious, but we knew that we weren't really projecting any person as a hero or as a villain. We were trying to tell people, show these people as who they were. So if there is veracity, if there's truth in the story, I think it works. I mean, people, wherever they are, whichever cultural background or political leanings they may be from, if there's truth in the story, it's fine. I think. And we were very honest. Honestly, we did not want. It was a very honest attempt, Monica. So I hope it was.
So talk another risk. Jim served a Parsi for a Parsi is perfect. Ishwaq Singh, a Punjabi for a Gujarati character. Was that a risk?
Of course it was. But Ishwaq Singh, who's a very dear friend, and he's like really, really good. We had to audition a lot for Vikram Sarabhai. And we auditioned real Gujarati people, we auditioned Marathi people, and we also finally we came across Ishwaq Singh's audition. And I mean, the moment we saw his audition, it was a no-brainer really. Monica, we saw his audition, we shared it with Malika, and she also was like, this is Papa. So there was no looking back, but it took a lot of time. finding Vikram. And we started with Gujarati actors and big actors also.
Okay.
But they weren't working. The simplicity or the sadgi that we wanted, with a hint of mischief in his eyes, just wasn't coming right, I guess. We weren't getting that right. And also, there's no denying the fact that there's also a striking resemblance between Ishfaq and Dr. Sarabhai.
Yeah.
We've added those politic years, but still, despite that, there was quite even the personality was very similar. So yeah,
was it difficult to convince the Sarabhai family, or they easily came on board?
They, I think they took time to trust us. It required a couple of meetings, at least us going over to Ahmedabad, meeting them, sharing our drafts with them. But once they had seen our drafts and they had given their corrections and we made all those corrections, they knew that we were going to be respectful and we were going to be very conscious of their how we project these people, and the fact that we will be very conscious of their feedback as well, which we were throughout. So once they saw that we were incorporating all their feedback, most of it.
Most of it. So what is it that they didn't agree to?
Little things, call her up and I say, ma'am, please, can I keep this? Like, okay, Abhay, go ahead. So, but I still used to ask her. Okay, ma'am, can I not change this, please? And she used to say, okay, don't change it. Because even I think they also wanted to tell an honest story. All of us wanted to honestly tell the story of these people. There was no hidden agenda. We weren't trying to steal anyone's identities. We weren't trying to, sensationalize or over dramatize any track. We were trying to tell these people's lives, narrate these people's lives as honestly, as truthfully as possible.
So you're the writer, you're the dialogue writer, you are, of course, the director. Too much on your plate?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, the plate was completely empty. So right now you can pour in as much as you want. Once the plate right now, the plate was completely empty. So not too much. Honestly, I can get more, at least now.
Having Nikhil Advani as the creator of the show, was there undue interference or undue guidance?
So guidance, of course. There is no doubt that this show wouldn't have been possible without him. He, from every single draft, the first person that I used to go to was him, ask him if it's good or not. And without his invaluable feedback, I think it's precious feedback, this show wouldn't have been possible. He's given the best advices. He's pointed in the right directions. He's facilitated everything for me, from ensuring that I get the locations that I want. I get the budgets almost as much as I want. And the feedback, the guidance. As a mentor, I don't think there are better mentors out there than him. I've learned everything from him. I've learned filmmaking from him. I've learned how to manage people. I've learned how to make films from him. So there is no doubt that there is no way the show would have been possible without him.
No creative differences.
No, not really. I mean, after he gave me the project and I started writing it, and after the first or second drafts, when he saw that the script was shaping up well, after that he stopped really. We were on the same page. And especially while we were shooting, there was absolutely no creative difference. When we were shooting it, it was absolutely okay that I was doing. So not at all.
And what can we expect from the second season? In Bollywood movies, we say there's a curse of the second half. And OTT, do you think there's something called the curse of a second season, especially when the first one has done so well?
Yeah, of course. We are a little. The fact that I'm in office today and sitting on the edit and reworking the script as much as I can, is testament to the fact that we are very conscious of this curse. Curse, I don't want to call it the curse because, I think we're in good shape with what we've shot for second season, because we already shot 75-80% of the second season already. So I think we are in a good shape.
So what can we expect?
So we will be talking about, we will be, diving deeper into the whole conspiracy of Dr. Bhabha's plane crash, the CIA conspiracy. We will be talking more. There'll be more rocket launches. There'll be 2 rocket launches, more science. The resolution of all the character arcs, the relationships. Dr. Kalam, expect to see a lot of Kalam in the second season. And a couple of things that I think we should save it for later. For the interview that we do next year. After this.
Next year. And will there be more seasons after this? Not just the second season?
I think the story should be done in 2 seasons. I don't think so that we should be making another season. We should be done with.
Okay. But you end with 2 for the time being, right?
Yeah, 2 for the time being.
And
producers, but I don't think so. There should be another season after this.
As you look at the first season, is there anything that you could have done better? I mean, do you look at it very critically? Apart, of course, the critics' reviews have been brilliant.
Everything. I could have done everything differently and better. Everything. I am super critical of my own work, and I think I need to, temper that down a little bit. But to point out a few things that I feel that I should have been able to put in the first season, I wish I could have put in more science in the second and third episodes. I feel I wish there were more. I wish I could have done that, which I'm going to try and do in the second season now. More science. I wish we could have gotten better foreigner actors. Except Mark. Mark was brilliant, but the guy who played Crowley. But owing to COVID, we couldn't get it. So we are going to work on that a little bit in the second season. I wish we could have dealt with the Vikram Mrinalini track after marriage a little more. I wish I could have invested more time in that, which I couldn't because there was just no time to put it in the show. So I'll try to put that in the picture as well in the second season. I think broadly, these are the things that I wish I could have. Yeah. Most importantly, I want to see. I want to see more of these scientists at work.
Some people feel more of C.V. Raman too.
C.V. Raman, yes, but I think that Dr. C.V. Raman's contribution in these people's lives was itna hi. So to put it more, as the first question you asked, Monica, was that all these people. I mean, if I were Dr. C.V. Raman, he should have another show of his own.
Right.
Every other scientist, they should have their own seasons. I mean, the more I can't put everything, but of course, maybe I could have put more of C.V. Raman if I'm saying that I wish I could have put more science in the second and third episodes. Dr. C.V. Raman would have come into picture. Yeah. So, but most importantly, I want to see the scientists at work, breaking their heads over something and then finding a solution. It's something that I'd like to see in the second season as a viewer.
And success at you're barely 30, I believe.
Yes, I am.
So success at such young age, I mean, does it feel sweet or is it like fearful, apprehensive? What does it make you feel?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't think it's success really. What is success? Success is when your family is happy with what you've done. And I think they've been happy with what I've done for the last 10 years. So I think I've been successful for the last 10 years. So, it's obviously there's more pressure to tell better stories and tell them in a better way. But yeah, I mean, it's I work in a field which I know, I'm sure you know, where
Yeah.
success can be very short-lived. So
So you're taking it slowly.
so yeah, I mean, don't take it to the head, I guess, and let's not let the failure go to the heart, as they say.
You said your family was happy even when you were assisting in movies like Marjama. How does that experience help?
You know, that you should ask my mother. Because you know, as a person who's trying to find a footing in the world of Bollywood, you are trying to do whatever comes your way, honestly. And yeah, I think it was again, I mean, at the end of the day, if I walked out of that film learning a great amount of work, then I think that was a success for me, because I learned a lot in that film in terms of how VFX is done, how especially how VFX is done. So I learned a great deal from everything that I've done. So I think, yeah. But yeah, I mean, my mother still finds it good. So I think it's a good thing.
And you were talking of telling a Punjabi story. Have you zeroed down on something? Is there something in your mind already?
There is a film that I have in mind for the last couple of years that I've been working on. So I think after the second season and a film that I'm doing after that.
Which film is that you are doing after this?
I mean, it's still in development. It's not some. I've not finalized anything, nor have I finalized any actors yet. But yes, there is a film that I am very excited about, and something that I think will be a good successor to Rocket Boys as a film.
For OTT again?
No, I'd like to go. I'd like to go theatrical with that one.
So Punjabi story. Will you tell us a little about it?
It's the story of a singer of Punjab, but I mean that's not the
not Daljeet Dosanjh.
Not Daljeet Dosanjh. No, it's something else. I mean,
yeah, tell me one quintessential thing which is typically Punjabi about you, and say it in Punjabi for our Punjabi viewers, if you know, if you can.
Punjabi ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਬੋਲ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਕਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੱਸੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰਾਕਟ ਬॉयਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖੀ ਉਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਦੇਖਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰਾਕਟ ਬॉयਜ਼
ਉਹ ਦੇਖਣ
ਜਿਹਦੇ ਚ ਡਾਇਲੌਗ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਚ ਹੈਗੇ
ਲੇਕਿਨ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾ ਬਾਕੀ ਪਾਰਟਸ ਆਫ ਦ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਬੋਲ ਲੈਂਦੇ
ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਵੈਸੇ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ
ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਵੇਖਣਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਅੱਡ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਚ ਕੁਝ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਆਡੀਅנסਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਨਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਇਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇਖੀਆਂ ਜੋ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਚਿਰ ਤੱਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ they had to pay for whatever happened ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੇਖਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਨਾਲੇ ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਕਲੀਅਰਲੀ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਇੱਕ ਐਸਾ ਸਟੇਟ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਰਟਸ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਦੀ ਐਡਵੈਂਟ ਆਫ ਆਰਟਸ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ 'ਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਰ ਲੈ ਲਓ ਲਿਰਿਸਿਸਟ ਲੈ ਲਓ ਮਿਊਜ਼ੀਸ਼ੀਅਨਸ ਲੈ ਲਓ ਸਿੰਗਰਸ ਲੈ ਲਓ ਰਾਈਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਲਓ ਸਭ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਚਲੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਬੰਗਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਨੇ ਥੋੜੇ ਲਖਨਊ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਬਟ ਮੈਜੋਰਿਟੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਫੇਮਸ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਹੀਰ ਰਾਂਝਾ ਲੈਲਾ ਮਜਨੂ ਸਾਰੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਆਰਟਿਸਟਿਕ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਬਣਾਈਏ ਡੈਡੀਕੇਟਡ ਟੂ ਦ ਟਰੂ ਆਰਟਿਸਟਸ ਆਫ ਦ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਆਰਟਿਸਟਸ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਤੇ ਐਪਰੀਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕਰਨ ਔਰ ਅਗਲੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਬਣਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਜੋ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ
ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਬਣਾਓਗੇ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਬਣਾਓਗੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਮਿਸ
हाँ पंजाबी मैं बिल्कुल ऑथेंटिक काम करूंगा जी
ऑथेंटिक ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ one thing ਪੰਜਾਬੀ about you ਹੁਣ ਖਾਣਾ ਨਾ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਪਲੀਜ਼
नहीं खाना तो कितने खाना बॉम्बे रह के कितने पंजाबी खाना मेरा मेरा ਜਿਹੜਾ vacation ਹੈਗੀ the idea of vacation for me is ਖੇਤਾਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਟਰੈਕਟਰ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਦੀ
wow that's nice
ਹੁਣੇ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ 2 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਵਾਹੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ
ਅੱਛਾ
ਤੇ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਆਏ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ 2 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਰੁਕਿਆ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਾਗ ਹੈਗੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਗਾਂ 'ਚ ਮੈਂ ਵਾਹੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਡਿਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਵੈਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਗੋਆ ਜਾਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਪਿੰਡ ਆ ਕੇ ਵਾਹੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੱਕਰ ਲਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਾਲ 'ਚ 1-2 ਵਾਰੀ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ
ਸਾਲ 2 ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹਾਂ
that's wonderful so next time you are here in Chandigarh do let us know and thank you so much Abhay a pleasure talking to you and all the best for your second season and especially all the best for your Punjabi movie we are waiting for that with bated breath as we are looking forward to the second season of Rocket Boys too and thank you for your time thank you so much
thank you Monica great pleasure talking to you thank you so much lovely interview
thank you